Now playing
Producer
Mixtapes.
Well, everybody, welcome. Hey, say hello to the new studio manager of Blue Rock America, Nathan Walters.
Howdy. I am very happy to be here. Yeah.
And I am Billy Crockett, the old guard from Blue Rock America. And we are here to have a conversation about music discovery. So what's at stake? What's this conversation? What's it all about? Why does it matter, Nathan?
Well, a lot of it is about just how do we make a situation that we can really dig into music and make a relationship like you would when albums were put on a record and you would go to a store and pick it out and purchase it and had a physical thing and would make a relationship with it, you know?
Now, wait a minute. How old are you?
I'm 22.
So I love it that you have a lot of energy from that experience, but when did you ever have that experience?
They in DFW in Arlington, they have a handful of record stores. They've got a massive one called Forever Young over in Grand Prairie. It's like record superstore basically, but there's a handful of them, and I guess in like high school, it was fun for me and a handful of friends to go and hang out at the record store and pick out records and exchange the ones that we found. Be like, look what I found. You know,
man, were you like born at the wrong time?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that's really speaks to me, of course, because that's that was so many of the decades of my music discovery was done exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yet here we are with a handful of new tools. The world is streaming now. Music gets released and packaged in such different ways.
Right.
It makes certain things a whole lot more possible and even, I think, exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of nostalgia for to drop the needle on something that you had to go miles and miles to find.
Sure.
And that maybe wait for.
Yeah. We all had like a wish list, and it was always nice when we found something high up on the wish list.
Yeah.
One record that comes particular is the Hooker and Heat album. It's a John Lee Hooker album that the Canned Heat, I guess, ran the sessions for him, and then on the second half of the record, they jump in and join him and play some songs with him. And forever, that one was like on the top of my list, and I ended up finding it in a discount rack. Got it for like $4. I couldn't find it anywhere else. It was awesome.
You are reliving my life. Well, this is great. So do you have any respect for the way music is discovered mostly these days, or is that all you do? Do you just go to record stores and play vinyl? I mean, what do you do?
A lot of times, too, it'll start with a record, and I'll read the back of it and then go search those guys that you read about on the back and go down the rabbit hole online, finding other albums that they worked on and reading about those and listening to those, streaming them if they're available on streaming.
Okay, so this is stuff that the internet ought to do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Provide you copious catalogs of information about artists and songs and writers and players, all the liner notes, every interview that was ever done with that artist. It ought to bring immediately to your sense of curiosity just a wave of good things if you can sort through it.
Yeah, it's kind of a gold mine, and it's fun to sort through it. I mean, it's fun to, if you've got the minute to dive in and get another world of whoever you're checking out.
So see, you're not a caveman. You're not even a 70s guy, although I know you love it.
Uh-huh.
You were like the Great Bridge. And you're talking to a guy who is having to bridge also, and not always happy about it.
Sure.
But I'll be your case study for all things Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube and all that, how friendly I could get with it. I mean, these are things we all use, or a lot of us use.
Right.
But for me, the quest, and the reason I ask you that question about how do you discover music is because I miss the juice of having that experience with an artist that is new to me, a song that stops me in my tracks, something that's so, the chicken skin. You know about chicken skin?
I don't know that I do. What's the
It's
chicken?
the goosebumps when
okay.
the certain chord and the certain line and idea comes together.
Okay.
And you have to either, if you're in the car, look out. You better pull over because you cannot multitask now.
Yeah.
That's the experience that we want,
Yes.
and that a lot of us remember that we've lived our lives from song to song.
Right.
A lot of us have. The beautiful thing about the internet is it's everything, but that's also the problem with it. It's too much.
Right.
How do you find the thing that the pure experience that your heart really wants to have,
Sure. There's
and that your passion it lights up your passion.
Yeah.
So we've done a series called Now Playing Producer Mixtapes. That's all our little team of producers and engineers, and we've started on Spotify.
Yep.
And it's just 5 songs. All of our producers, me, you, Chris Bell, amazing, Roscoe Beck, Sarah Randolph, Patrick Conway. That's 6. And we just added, don't tell anybody, the great Bobby Arnold.
Yes.
Who is, he's on our staff. He tries to lay low, but he is a deep, deep well of wonderful experiences in this industry. Read his bio, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we're about to get his March playlist.
Yes.
So this producer mixtape series is the idea. What are you listening to? Show me. And so a world of everything becomes curated into little bite sizes of beautiful things.
Yes.
Interesting things.
Little snapshots.
Right. And in some of our cases, things that are really inspiring us to wake up and do it again.
Yes. Yes. A lot of the songs that are making it onto these playlists are songs that in the months that we're curating them, these are the things that we're listening to, that we are getting up in the morning and putting on because we are excited by, and we just love the idea of maybe spreading the word about it just a little bit. Maybe you getting to hear those songs and find out that that's the thing that is exciting to you as well.
And so, great segue. I'm learning a lot about you from your February playlist.
Okay.
I don't know that I would have known you in this way any other way than to hear your February playlist.
Okay.
So think about that, everybody. That relationships are made of songs in a very real way. So Nathan, you're new at Blue Rock. We have really enjoyed your first few weeks here, and now we get this. I want to ask you about Bobby Charles.
Yeah.
I don't know how you ran across Bobby Charles, but I want to find out. He sang a song that you featured in your playlist called I Must Be in a Good Place Now. And I just want to say that track is so relaxed. It feels like a lot of music does not these days. It feels of a whole piece, like it's rather live.
Mm-hmm.
Could we just listen to it for a minute? And then I want you to talk about it.
Yes.
Wild apple trees blooming all around. I I must be in a good place now. Sunshine coming through a rainbow-colored sky.
So what's going on with Bobby Charles?
So, I believe that this recording was done live, and it was done in an extremely relaxed setting, which probably would lend that to the sound. I think it's Bobby Charles. You got Dr. John on piano, and then various members of the band.
Really? Dr. John is on piano.
Mm-hmm.
And who's, keep going. Who's in the band?
We're not entirely sure. They didn't document it very well. That's kind of all we know. But we also know that when he cut that song, he was kind of on the run from the police. He'd gotten in some trouble in Nashville and disappeared to avoid jail time, and he showed up in Greenwich not Greenwich, in Woodstock. He showed up in Woodstock, and he meets all these guys, and
Now you're saying he was at the festival, or he just was in the town?
The town. He showed up at the town, not even aware of the festival. He liked the name of the town.
Man, you know, the hipsters, they get super smart on all this retro stuff, but then they don't listen to it. That's what makes you different. You're like deep in. I don't know how did you find him, and how did you get interested in him?
I don't quite remember how I stumbled into the self-titled album, but I imagine it was probably on a Dylan kick, and like a Dylan in the Band basement tapes.
Okay.
And it kind of, the homework kind of led me to it, I think. But I remember, like, the first time I heard this record, I was hooked.
So here's a guy whose commercial success was really nothing at the time.
So he had a career, just nobody knew who Bobby Charles was.
Okay.
And the labels that he was on and the records that he was putting out under his name weren't hitting big. So he kind of floated around labels, and he collected the checks on the royalties for the songs that he had written that were successful, and that was kind of how he kept his career going.
So really, it seems like it's been on a slow burn.
I think so.
Decades.
It seems to me that this particular record, when it first came out, nobody knew about it, and it was kind of a flop. But somehow it has kind of developed a cult following, and I stumbled across it online, and you know, there's a handful of sites that people have made to try to talk about this record and Bobby Charles as an artist, and
so he's the Rocky Horror Picture Show
sure
of 70s artists.
Yeah.
Well, great. So I love this idea of the experience in the studio as you're a young engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing that really lights you up, or one of the things that lights you up, is this relaxed live reality to a performance.
Yes.
Before we go, is there anything you wanted to ask me?
Yes, so you had two songs in particular on your list that really struck me. The first one being the Candace Springs version of I Put a Spell on You, and then your last song was the Stitch of the World by Tiff Merritt. Both of those songs I thought were pretty interesting. And I just wanted to know, why out of all of the I Put a Spell on You's, why that one? What about it? The performance, her performance is like thunderous. You shut up and you sit back and you go on the ride, and it just keeps going up. But I want to hear it from you. What about it? I guess stands out from the rest of them.
Well, she is a fairly new thundering presence in the jazz pop world for me. I'm sure she's been recording for a long time, but her presence is astounding. That track was produced by the great Larry Klein.
Okay.
So in our producer mixtapes, a lot of what's on my mind is what producers do I admire? What are they doing? Why is that I Put a Spell on You? To have a cover song that that has efficacy in this world, you have to be bringing something new to it.
Yes.
So your question is great. What's she got that Nina Simone doesn't have? That the myriad covers and the original, whose name I can't remember.
Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
Screamin' Jay Hawkins. That version.
Yes.
It's completely different, and it's chilly. It is. But here is Candace Springs, and I would just highly recommend anybody curious to get to know her. She's a great interpreter, obviously. But the thing that really blew my mind, the sonics of the project, of course, but she's got a record that's a tribute to all of her female forebears.
Yes.
And so she is, I think, drawing on the Nina Simone energy from that song.
And she even does the Nina runs. I mean, she goes there. She touches
But the thing that Nina doesn't do that Candace has she has infused this song with the classical iconic piano work that we all know as Moonlight Sonata. And the haunting quality of the Moonlight Sonata that moves in and through I Put a Spell on You is what just makes my hair stand up.
Well, now I've got to go listen to it again with that, knowing that.
I put a spell on you. Cause you're mine. You better stop the things you do.
Well, Nathan, I wish you a lot of good discoveries in these mixtapes.
You as well, yes.
And we'll continue to have our conversation. The old man and the young wonderkind. We're going to go some places. Really look forward. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And let us know how you're doing.